I think my work and my personality are very similar. If someone really wanted to get to know me, if they saw my work, that's my personality. The thoughts in my brain, I am able to take them out and turn them into something. And I feel very lucky to be able to do that, because I think a lot of the time people have funny ideas or thoughts or, creative moments, but they don't have a way of showcasing that. This is my visual way of how I think. And to be able to bring people into that journey, that's a really cool thing to be able to do. We are here at my studio in Niwot, Colorado. It's a little bit north of Boulder. It's very quaint, and I found this amazing warehouse where I can spread out and have a ton of room to make some cool stuff. I make a lot of my first prototypes here at the studio. I always think it's easier to start with my hands and kind of try to make a sample from scratch. A lot of the things that I make, I take apart, and that was an early decision, and that came out of necessity. But now it's become sort of a part of my practice where I upcycle something, and then at any moment, if I need the material, I'll just take it apart and keep turning it into stuff. So every once in a while, I'll have some pieces still that are left over. So there's a vest made out of shoes. There's a jacket that's made out of all camelback reservoirs. And then I have some silly stuff this jacket that has a bunch of Hot Wheels cars on it. And then for shoes, some of my collaborations I've done with Hoka, with Merrill, some really fun projects that I got to work on. This is one of my earlier pieces. It's not the best with my sewing, but I found this person just at a flea market just selling a bunch of oven mitts. So that's usually how I find inspiration, is just putting myself in scenarios where people have a lot of stuff they don't need, and me just trying to figure out how I could use it. I'm the person in the math problem that's buying 50 apples. It's what is she doing with all this? And then I show them and they're like, okay, I see the vision. This is really funny because I was actually just looking for this color the other day, so all I need to do is look through my material and I'll find something.
Do you have a system for keeping all this stuff organized, or is it?
It is. It doesn't look like it, but there is somewhat. I mean, so these are all Arc'teryx. They're warranty jackets, so usually they get sent back to ARC for some reason. Usually you'll look at the jacket and you'll find out the downs are probably coming out of it. I will always just get sent random scraps of whatever's left over. I know that this is all factory offcuts that I've kept, and so I plan to stuff that into furniture or even clear transparent material so you could see it, but it's all thread from factory floor. So I have a lot of really interesting brand behind the scenes of all their samples and stuff. They feel very comfortable sending that kind of stuff to me. This was a really interesting one. I got sent an entire box of harnesses, and this is a safety device, and so when they cannot function as a safety device anymore, what are they used for? You don't want to use an old harness that's broken. So I can take so many of the elements off of this. I can take the webbing and use that. I've used some of these loops for handles for bags. Just perfectly good material, but at some point, harnesses aren't gonna last forever, so you have to come up with creative solutions to what to do with it. History is so important to what I do, like taking vintage, taking secondhand pieces and finding ways to keep it alive. It's a lot of experimenting with things and being a little bit funny or quirky with the industry that can sometimes take itself a little bit too serious. I think for me, just as a person, like I enjoy making people laugh. I enjoy laughing. I like to use materials that feel really unexpected and like, why would someone ever do that type of thing? If I don't have fun, then like, why am I doing what I'm doing? It doesn't necessarily have to be a joke, but I do think like being a little bit lighthearted with some things is important. This is a nice ripstop piece, like that. I'm thinking maybe also we add like a little pocket somewhere. I think that could be kind of nice. Just dive in. I mean, that's the best part of the process for me is like, it can be a little overwhelming. However, like pick stuff, commit to it, and you know, see what happens. Making the move out to Colorado, I think, really shifted the way that I work to be a little bit more efficient and value more of my time. I think it's challenging me to see what's next beyond the world of just fashion and footwear. I've been teaching a lot, and I think the workshops have been a really amazing new chapter for me to push myself to teach this next generation and group of people to get interested in upcycling. That's something I want to continue to focus on, but it's been challenging me in a really good way. How zoomed am I right now? When it comes to creative blocks, a lot of the time it's like turning my brain off there, but turning it on in another creative way. Going outside, spending time away from the studio helps recharge. It keeps me encouraged and excited to see ways that I could be creative in other spaces. You get pigeonholed into like, I'm a designer, like creating fashion or creating footwear. Pushing myself to enter into spaces that are like less fashion adjacent has helped me realize the possibilities of like where I could go with all this.